Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is John Nelson. I'm the Vice President of Operations, Marketing, and Sales at BBI International. I'm joined today with Anna Simet, our editor of Biomass Magazine and Pellet Mill Magazine. Today, we will be speaking with Geff Mitchell. He's the Western Regional Sales Manager at IEP Technologies, and he is on a panel that is titled Reviewing the Best Available Fire and Explosion Protection Mitigation Solutions, part of track one of the International Biomass Conference and Expo, which is taking place March 14th through the 16th. So, Geff, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak about this and get a little hype going for the event.
All right. So we'll kind of jump into a couple questions and learn a little bit more about what you're going to be talking about. And I'll hand it over here to Anna, and we'll just chat a little bit, get to know what you're talking about.
All right. Thanks, John. Hi, Geff. How you doing?
Doing well, Anna. Thanks. Very well.
Good.
How are you?
Awesome. I'm good. Good. So where are you located? And what's the weather doing there right now?
So I am in Reno, Nevada. It is actually a nice day, but we've been pretty pounded with snow over the last week and a half. So
yeah, didn't you guys get a ridiculous amount of snow?
Yes, we were cut off from California for the first time in a couple decades. So
wow.
The snowpack is full, and that's a good thing, but starting to get back to a normal life.
Right. Oh, well, it's about a balmy 20 degrees here in the Minneapolis area today, which is super warm compared to the past several days. I think and more Arctic air is coming in. I think the high is supposed to be about 0 tomorrow, and the low something like -15. So yeah.
I watched the outdoor hockey game there over the weekend.
And it was
miserable.
Oh my gosh, I know. My husband and kids went the next day had tickets just to skate on the arena.
Oh,
and cool. It was it was really cool, awesome on Target Field, but it was really cold. So they didn't last incredibly long, but they got to dress up and they got to get dressed in the Twins locker rooms, and it's pretty neat.
Very cool. Great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, let's jump into things, Geff. I, for one, am really looking forward to Jacksonville and getting back together in person, for the first time in a couple of years. So let's just start. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then a little bit about IEP Technologies.
Sure, absolutely. So I am currently, as John said, the Western Regional Manager, Sales Manager. So I cover the western half of the U.S. and Canada, trying to build the IEP brand, bring in business. And my history actually started with the company as an application design engineer. So learning the technologies and the products and how they apply to different processes, presenting that information to end users, and being the project manager, and did that for 5 or 6 years, and then this territory opened up. Did pretty well in front of the customers, so took a sales territory and moved my way out west.
Yeah, because Geff, your background, if and correct me if I'm wrong, is mechanical engineering, correct? I mean, that's kind of what you.
That is right.
Went to school.
And that is kind of the backbone of what we do. It encompasses all of the machinery and products that are creating these hazards. So it's a good background, and my degree also had a bit of a business piece to it as well. So that fits in with the sales and the business side.
And so IEP Technologies, Geff, talk a little bit about, what you guys do in the biomass space.
Sure. So IEP Technologies, that stands for Industrial Explosion Protection Technologies. Very on the nose. So what we do is there are a couple different hazards in biomass industries in ways where they're taking raw materials, applying heat, pulverizing, things like that are creating combustible dust. And you have ignition sources throughout the process that can create deflagration hazards. So what IEP does is addresses those hazards using different technologies. We have everything from passive products through to active products that help protect the processes, people, and buildings from these deflagrations, and even more importantly, from expensive downtime.
All right. I think that's a really great segue into my next question. Your presentation's focused on passive versus active explosion protection. Could you kind of give a high-level definition of what the difference is between the two, and maybe an example?
Absolutely. So passive protection is any means of protection that doesn't require a signal or something to set the device in motion. So a couple examples of that would be explosion vent on a dust collector or a bucket elevator, something like that. So there's the only thing activating the system or that product would be increase in pressure, overcoming the strength of the vent and opening the vent, allowing that flame and pressure to escape out of the volume, keeping the pressure inside lower than the strength of the equipment. So there's no actuation or anything allowing that protection to happen. It's just inherently built into the device. And then for isolation, which is a second part of any protection strategy, the passive model there would be an actuation passive flow valve. So this valve would, in all normal circumstances, be open, allowing the process to run freely. And then if an explosion did occur, that pressure wave coming back through the ductwork would shut that flap, lock it in place, and not allow that flame to pass through to different parts of the plant. So again, it's just that resultant force from a deflagration that's allowing the device to work.
Right. So, yeah. Were you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know that it's a lot of words to. The idea is very simple, and then to give an example for the active system, that would be more towards an actual sensor sensing that increase in pressure inside the vessel, sending a signal to a control panel, and then that control panel sending a signal to a device to activate, either to have suppressors go off in a vessel or a ductwork, or some kind of knife gate to shut rapidly in the ductwork, mitigating the hazard that way.
Cool. So your presentation is going to focus on kind of guiding biomass facilities on trying to figure out what the best option is for their respective facility.
Yes, exactly. The codes and guidelines that dictate that you need this protection do a really good job of giving you all the options and saying how they have to work. But what they don't do a good job at is picking the right protection method for each application. So that comes based on a lot of factors, but principally on the material being protected, the type of process, and the different parameters within the process. So what I'd like to do is kind of break all those down and help end users, engineers, and AHJs have a better idea of which protection type is better for which application.
Okay. So, Geff, on to our fun and final question. What would you say is your favorite part of your job?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's whenever I like to talk about it, it's like that show on Discovery Channel, how things work. So every day I'm walking through different processes and different facilities, learning how things are made, how different processes are working, and
you kind of look at the plants too that you go into and say, when you're recommending or trying to,
Yep, exactly. So
you're kind of saying, how's this look? How will this fit in here? And
yep, exactly. So it really, really triggers the engineer part of my brain to, figure out how things work, why they're doing certain things, and how we can make those processes a little safer.
Great.
I sure wish I had an engineer part to my brain, because apparently.
I do like that show.
Awesome.
I agree with you. I like that show as well.
Yeah, it's super cool. Well, you know what? I'm going to let you off the hook, Geff, for questions. Really have a great roster of speakers on your panel with some very important information to talk about. And so I really, again, looking forward to IBCE and your panel. And thank you so much for joining us to chat today.
Anna, thank you so much as well. I'm looking forward to having some fun discussions and getting some information out there. And like you said earlier, getting together as a group and doing that for the first time in a couple of almost over a year.
Finally.
For sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you both. Appreciate it.